Hey there, and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel, and thank you so much for being here. So this is my friend Dawn, and I figured I'd bring her in for this video because who better than to have Dawn here for, what is this, the dating as a fat girl, what we've learned as fat girls in the dating scene, just kind of like a comprehensive fat girl dating video. Before I forget to mention this, because I will forget to mention this, she's actually getting started in blogging, and soon I think you'll have a YouTube channel. All of her information is going to be in the description below. Keep an eye out for her on YouTube. She has some really cool videos coming your way. And anything you want to add about yourself before we get into it?
I'm awesome. I'm just a very personable, a very cute kind of style. I like comfort, and I'm really all about just finding the balance between loving yourself and overcoming those fears that you have about being a bigger girl. So if you struggle with those, come on a journey with me and we'll have some fun.
Yeah, she's gonna have some really cool stuff, so keep an eye out for that. Anyways, getting into the point of this video, we're gonna try to do this as organically as possible. This was a super random last minute idea. We're gonna just answer some like relationship questions we found on YouTube, and hopefully from there we get some really good like conversation points, because there's a lot about being a fat girl in the dating scene that I've really wanted to talk about for a while, and something she really wants to talk about too. Do you want to get started, or should I get started? Or
you start.
I guess I can ask a question and we'll both answer it. Are looks important in a relationship?
Okay, well this is a good one.
I know, right?
This is a very good one. How do you answer this? Sometimes I feel personally shallow when I'm dating somebody or I'm interested in somebody. I instantly notice the looks. I mean, I think it's very common that you're going to notice somebody's looks first. Yeah. And there needs to be some sort of attraction. If there's no attraction whatsoever, your relationship's not really going to go anywhere and be as successful as it could be. And unfortunately, sometimes we're attracted to certain types of people more than others, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. For example, being a fat girl, some people are legitimately just not attracted to me, and that is a-okay. I want the ones who are, you know, and that's something. It took a while, I'm going a little off topic, but something it took a while for me to accept that it was okay that people didn't necessarily find me attractive, because when I'm dating, I don't necessarily find everybody attractive either. So in terms of how important it is, I don't know, I want to be like 70-30.
Yeah. One major gripe that I have absolutely is that people tend to crucify fat girls who have preferences, or even like their own personal, what's the word I'm looking for? God, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, don't blame me for not remembering words. People who have certain things they want in a person, I think a lot of people kind of crucify fat girls for that. Like, well, how can you say you want a guy who's tall, or a guy who has like blue eyes, or a style, whatever, like when you're a fat girl? And like,
they think that we have to settle.
Absolutely. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. Prove my point. Oh my God, it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I've been up since 8:30 a.m. We're gonna get through this. Long story short, yes, looks or attraction is important in a relationship. To completely rule that out is ridiculous, and I don't think it's wrong to think that, you know, attraction is important. But at the same time, I would say that if you genuinely feel like a connection with them, that I think attraction can come from that. I think that you can develop attraction through that. So a
lot of times people want chemistry like that.
Yeah.
And chemistry can build. Yeah. It can build. I'm usually very open about, like, I post full-length pictures of myself. I'm very open, and if I don't respond to somebody, their immediate reaction is to send me a message and be like, why are you so picky or so fat? It's just like, wait, you were interested in me 5 seconds ago, and now I'm so fat. So it's just,
you know what's the worst thing about dating as a fat girl? And this is something that took me a really long time to get used to, but at first, I felt like I had to say yes to everyone who showed interest in me, because I also didn't understand that being fat didn't mean that people weren't going to be attracted to me. However, when I started to learn to say no to these people, there was like this immediate switch where you would go from this person that they couldn't resist to, well, you're just a fat bitch anyway. And that is the, like, it just like it makes me laugh and like drives me insane. It's wild to see how these people who are attracted to you for what you look like are also going to try to use that as a way to bring you down.
They're trying to manipulate you.
Absolutely.
And make you feel like you're
somehow
not worthwhile enough to maybe want somebody different, or I don't want to say somebody necessarily better, but something different.
That they're like somehow a God's gift to you. Like you should be grateful that they're showing you attraction.
Grateful, yes.
Honestly, if anyone says that to you, like, I know that it can sting, I know that it can be painful, but just remember that they're the ones who can't take rejection, and you by no means have to say yes to someone just because they're giving that to you. Like, it's really scary putting yourself out there on Tinder, Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, like whatever. I don't even know what everything is anymore. Mm-hmm. It's really scary being open about what you look like because you yourself don't want to face rejection. But at the same time, just because you're a fat girl on the dating scene or a fat person on the dating scene doesn't mean that you just have to accept whatever comes your way. Like, you are allowed to have your own standards. That is the word that I've been looking for this whole time. I'm gonna like crash the second we get started. You're allowed to have your own standards, and you're allowed, and you don't have to feel guilty about them. And just because you're fat doesn't mean that somehow you're a bad person for having your own standards.
You're still a person.
Exactly.
You're not just a fat person.
And it doesn't make you somehow a hypocrite. Like,
it took me a long time for those messages not to sting, but you kind of build up this shell and this resistance, and you start to realize that you're worth more than those negative messages and comments, and that you are completely valid in your wants and your needs. And just because you have more flesh on your body does not mean that you don't deserve them. Has there been any particular instance throughout your dating that stood out to you as a positive?
Okay, not to sound really cheesy. So I kind of had this whole experience where I started off being really shy about showing my body. And then it kind of got to the point where I felt like people were only really noticing me for my body, because you kind of go through this experience, and I think you'll agree with this, where it starts off that you're nervous about showing who you are, and then suddenly you realize, okay, well, I have no problem finding anyone who's interested in me, but then you start to realize that it seems like people are only interested in you for that, only interested in you for your body, and you want to be seen as something more than that. So for a really, really long time, I felt a lot of sadness around that. I felt like upset that people only really wanted to seem to have something to do with me because I was a fat person, and I'm more than that. She's more than that. You're more. But it was when I met Gil, my current boyfriend. I know it sounds really silly to a lot of people, and when I had explained it to a friend at the time, she's like, wow, I can't believe you've never heard that before. One of the things that he said to me that really stood out when we were getting to know each other a little bit more was that he's like, yeah, I obviously am very physically attracted to you, but I really like your brain, and I really like you for who you are. And I just feel like I needed to hear that so bad. That was a moment where I was like, I really feel like I'm a complete person right now. And I had come through so much. I had gone through so much, hating my body, to loving my body, to feeling like in ways my body was kind of trapping me in this type of dating that I didn't really want to be involved in, and then feeling like finally somebody could not only be attracted to me, not fetishize me, and love me for who I am. And that's something that we experience a lot. Like, we experience a lot of dudes who fetishize us, and I feel like I almost want to make that its own video. What about you? Has there been like a really positive moment?
Not as probably impactful as what you went through, but I just feel like, I guess it's sort of similar. It's when somebody recognizes, like, you've been talking to them for a while, or they message you, and the first few times you talk to them, they don't even mention your body. And so you know that obviously they're talking to you, they are attracted to you. Why would they be talking to you? But there's more that they want, and then you get to go on a deeper level, and you figure out your common interests and that sort of thing. But the initial messages are, what's your favorite movie, where have you tried, like, they really want to know who you are. Or their messages are like, I really like some of your interests, tell me more about them.
And they don't seem like they're copy and pasted messages.
Yes, that they've actually read your profile. But it's more that they're not saying, hey, you're hot.
Before I forget this question, what would you say your top 3 pieces of advice would be to the viewer about dating?
You sort of touched on it, and one of them is to not be afraid to have your standards and know what you're looking for. That is like honestly one of the most crucial things. The second thing is, as scary as it is to put yourself out there, and sometimes you get hurt, I'm personally the type of person that will endure all that pain, because at the end of the day, I know I'm gonna find somebody, and I believe that happiness is at the end. So it might be difficult and trying, and you'll probably meet a lot of bad guys, but there are good ones.
Yeah.
And you will meet them, so kind of don't give up and know that you're worthy of finding that person. And the third one, don't be ashamed of showing your body.
Yeah.
Like, if you feel good in an outfit, if you like taking selfies, shower them all over your profile. Oh, yeah. Did you know that Plenty of Fish took down a photo of me because I was in a bikini?
I mean, Plenty of Fish is kind of the armpit of the dating.
It is, but I was so, like, didn't just take down the photo, deleted my account. Yeah, somebody, like, obviously complained that I had a photo of me in a bikini.
They don't do that for skinny people on bikinis.
No.
Oh my god,
So
that's
sorry,
ridiculous.
that just...
No, it's okay. I guess if I were to expand on that, I think the top 3 things that I would suggest is work on yourself first, because I think that a lot of us can kind of go into dating, especially as like maybe an insecure fat person, hoping that it's going to kind of like fill a hole that we have inside. And I think about where I was like a few years ago, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, when I first started getting involved. And I really looked at these people for validation. Once you sort of know for yourself, you know, that you are a worthy person, it makes it so much easier to go out there and I guess like face rejection, because unfortunately rejection will happen. It doesn't, that I guess could be my, you know, advice number 2, like rejection is inevitable. And just because somebody does reject you doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. Somebody only values having sex in a relationship, or that's all that they think, that's all that they want. If you come into the picture offering the complete package, it doesn't matter what you have to offer a person, because to them all they want is just sex. To them all they want is experience. And that by no means takes away your value. And to make sure that you just remember at the end of the day what it is that you offer, and that there are plenty of fish in the sea. I feel like a lot of guys do this to fat girls, like, and I've had this happen to me many times, but they kind of view us as people with like lower self-esteem, so they feel like they can get away with a lot more. So I kind of feel like that happens to us more than like anyone else.
Like, they don't think we're gonna catch on.
Yeah. All of those really negative things that comes with being like, or negative connotations that people associate with being like a fat person. Also, somebody's kind of guilting you into staying into a situation or talking down to you in any capacity. Honestly, walk away. Like, walk away from those situations, because there are so many other people out there who will worship the ground that you walk on. I promise you that's out there. And never, ever, 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 ever settle. It's easy to assume that the first person who pays attention to you is like the only person who's going to pay attention to you. And I feel like that was like 5 pieces of advice, but whatever. Okay. The mistakes that we make, the choices that we make, it's all part of, it's growing pains. It's what we have to do. Like, I've been through so many like awful dating experiences that at the time seemed like the end of the world. But I feel like we could probably sit here and talk about this for a long time. We're gonna wrap this up. We really hope you like this video. Like I said, all of Dom's information is gonna be in the description below. If you would like to see us do this again and talk more about this stuff, seriously, leave whatever questions you might have in the description below, even if they seem TMI or whatever, we will answer them. Don't forget, you can find new videos from me every Wednesday and every Sunday, and new blog posts every Tuesday and every Friday, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Forgive me because it's been a little while since I recorded this video, so I can't quite remember the sizes. I can't also quite remember what the prices were, but I do know a fair majority of these were clearance items, and I'm certain by now things are marked down because Old